And most recently, I was chief geologist basically up at Detour Lake Gold, which is now Agnico Eagle's flagship property. So those are two big development stories that I was involved with. Like Hemlo was supposed to close in 2012, me and my team. The team in general helped extend the mine life, and in 2025 it was sold for $1 billion. And at Detour Lake Gold, it was a struggling asset. We remodeled it using some advanced techniques in AI back in 2017. We're building the foundational model of how AI would be used in the industry, and I'm bringing that into this company. That's the key. Once we put that through, took out all of Kirkland Lake, and now it's their flagship property. So we're also part of the Metals group of companies. This is a group of companies which shared services to reduce costs. John Williamson is the chairman of the board. He had about 20 different juniors. 75% of them have been successful exits. We really know how to work the capital markets. My day-to-day business, he's in the back there somewhere, letting people in and taking your tickets. John Lebrecq, our exploration manager, we go way back into Hemlo. So we have a good team. Ian Harris is an independent director. He's with Copper Giant. He's with Frank Juster's group and stuff like that. So very good, solid team. That's the point. So these are the two assets that we have. Like I said, they're basically 30 kilometers apart. On the left, which we'll go into, is our flagship. We are building a conceptual large-scale open pit above a high-grade underground gold deposit. We're currently drilling that. This phase of drilling was earmarked for 15,000 meters of drilling. We were well under budget. This is a district where more money can go into the ground because our all-in costs for drilling are like $200 to $250 a meter. When you look at other projects in Canada, sometimes they're $400, ranging way up to like $800 to $1,000. So what's nice about being in this district, everybody goes home at night. So you know camps to build, lots of leverage in this district. There's numerous mills in the area, lots of tailings dam. One of the theses of why we built this company where we are is because roads everywhere, mills everywhere, we wouldn't have to build a tailings dam, wouldn't have to build a mill. That would cost $500 million to $1 billion of CapEx cost to get any of these deposits into production. We wouldn't have that. So we envision quick payback periods, high rate of return and a healthy NPV. Our other project is near-term production, right? It was an orphan deposit. It was about to go into mining in 2010, and it was stalled because a larger entity took over this company. Basically, it was Eldorado Gold at the end of it all. And, but it was considered too small for them. But no one's drilled below 300 meters. On the books, it had 227,000 ounces. There's actually a mining permit in place of 1,000 tons per day. And the grade is about 4 grams per ton, so that will give you 40,000 ounces per year. We think we could get this quite quickly up to 400,000 ounces. That would be a 10-year mine life of 40,000 ounces. Now, we're trying to shoot for a Q1 plus or minus a quarter production of 2028. If gold's at 5,000, 40,000 ounces times $5,000 gold, that's $200 million in revenue. For 10 years, that'd be $2 billion of revenue. So even these small deposits in this gold environment are exciting because that gives us a lot of leverage to expand and grow this company, new acquisitions, and build actually a mining company. So we're quite excited, and I'm not afraid of production. I'm a geologist. Half my career was in production, so that's the key there. So we're excited about that. Right now, that deposit has 3.3 kilometers of underground development. We have a vent raise. So we're already halfway there, right? So we just have to apply for the environmental permits that back, basically the mining permit, and then right now we are going to initiate a 43-101, and then we're going to stuff that into a pre-feasibility study. Then we're going to dewater it, rehab it, and start mining. That's the plan. A lot of intermediate steps in between there, but pretty much that's what we're going to do. So those are the projects that we're going to talk about. This is where we sit. We have 194 million shares outstanding. We are, have $4.5 million in the bank. So we're quite excited. We just are finishing this phase program. Both properties have over 100,000 meters of drilling on it. So pretty excited. We have some notable names in here, like Rob McEwen, founder of Goldcore. He's like a 7% interest in the company. Del Burke, some high net worth people are in here. Rick Rule's in on this. You can't attend this show without Rick having shares in your company. So he kind of pre-vets all these companies. And so we're very happy to be here. Like I said, we're in a top tier district, lots of infrastructure around, and a huge history of mining. So this is what it looks like in the district. So basically our two properties are right there, here and here. That's about 30 kilometers apart as the crow flies. Now what you need to know here is this is where 200 million ounces have been produced. There's all sorts of mines that are under capacity at their mills. And like I said, we view both of these deposits as potentially satellite deposits for supplemental feed to existing infrastructure. That just saves us a lot of money, like I said previously. So we're really excited about this infrastructure. You can see all these deposits follow these, basically, I guess they're tan lines. That's the plumbing system where gold came up through the mantle and fertilized what we call these greenstone belts to deliver gold into the district. And so you can see there's these linear features to where all the gold is occurring right along the plumbing system where the gold is being introduced to the near surface crust. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff because both our projects either straddle or adjacent to this plumbing system. So it's a great place to be. A lot of companies built their names off of this starting in the 40s. So this is a place where companies have built their names and their reputations. So one thing that I wanted to talk about, when we looked at both these deposits, we didn't just pick them up. I'm a geologist. I work for majors. Like I said, my first half of my career, I was in exploration. I worked for companies like BHP, Placid Dome, Barrick, Teck, and most recently I was up at Detour Lake and then Kirkland Lake and Anico Eagle, right? So when I pick up a project, we thoroughly vet it in-house. And one of the things that we do is we use advanced technologies using AI. So I've been doing this since 2017, so I'm pretty familiar with it, and I have a team that I work with. And so when we look at the deposits, for instance, Duquesne West was discovered in 1940. This is the story we'll be talking about. People came and went, but there was no 3D model. We quickly built the 3D model with existing data, and it really illuminated the exploration potential, and that's why we picked up. And this is just a slide showing that we finally converted this deposit into 3D in 2023 when we picked it up, and all the opportunities that we saw. We were able to actually build a geologic model quite quickly too. Other companies would take years to do it. We did it like in a month using these technologies. And this really helps us illuminate that exploration potential. So that's the advantage of using AI. It's really efficient, and it really just saves you a lot of time and money. And it's just like anything out there. AI is going to be the future, and we're early adopters. This is why Rob McEwen kind of came in. He saw what we are doing, and recently he just, in 2025, he invited me to the board of his company, so now I'm on the board of McEwen Inc. as well, because he likes the technology that we're doing here. These were some of the grades that we were seeing. This is why we picked it up at our flagship property. This is the one with the huge conceptual open pit. And I mean, the thickness and the grades were just astounding. So when this was viewed originally as an underground mining opportunity only, we saw a quick payback period with those thicknesses and grades. We can go down, put a shaft, mine it, get it out of the ground quick. And with those grades, you'll make some money, especially at $4,000, $5,000 gold. These are what the rocks look like. I know none of you are geologists, but the most important thing, this was our eureka moment right here. It's a rock that basically is a host rock to these high-grade lenses of like 10.8 meters of 15.8 grams per ton. That stuff I just showed you in the previous slide. This rock is surrounding it, and it was like we had intercepts of 25 meters in the host rock of 1.69. No one's ever sampled this host rock before. Because it's a lower grade, bulk tonnage type opportunity, this is how we envisioned a larger scale open pit above higher grade gold underground type of a scenario. So this allows us to mine more efficiently. You can move earth for like $8 a ton in an open pit, as opposed to like $80 to $100 a ton in an underground scenario. So this is how we conceptualize this whole deposit to give it the advantage. And plus we could grow ounces more rapidly in an open pit because you could have lower cutoff grades. So what we recently have done, this is that host rock. So this is not our drill, and this is from historical workers. And if you're a geologist, you want to see these rusty looking rocks. That's where iron sulfide is, and that's where gold is. So where gold is, it would rust over time. No one ever sampled that stuff. So we're doing a historical core sampling program, and we're adding ounces as we speak, going through the historical core library, sampling the core, and adding it to our database, because we want to lower the stripping ratios in the open pit by including those lower grade bulk tonnage incremental ounces. So if you look at our press releases this year, we had 3 press releases out so far with our current drilling, which only represents 33% of our total drilling. The first press release, we had 107.5 meters of half a gram. That's very significant. Now, it sounds lower grade there, but we were trying to demonstrate to show people that we have broad, low-grade bulk tonnage that could lower stripping ratios in an open pit. The second press release had, 35 meters of 3.1 grams per ton. And that was showing that we have these nice grade lenses in the open pit environment, that was within the open pit environment, of nice thickness with good grade. And we have multiple lenses. There's like about 8 of them that come up to surface. And then the last one was one of these higher grade lenses where we had 15 meters of 61.5 grams per ton gold, which is very, very exciting. So we're trying to demonstrate we have multiple styles of mineralization, and this is what you need to actually build an economic mine. In fact, when you look at like that last intercept I talked about, most of those type of intersections, usually see them in operating mines. So I was pretty excited to see that amount of visible gold, and so that says it's going to be really good, like metallurgical. We'll have good recovery and stuff like that because we have free gold in the system. So that's our open pit, and like I said, none of this stuff in gray out here has been sampled, and we want to add those incremental ounces to the open pit environment. Like I said, we were also doing some structural stuff, and we were targeting these plunge lines that we see, and we were hitting like 10.8 meters at 15.8 grams per ton. This is in 2023, so every 2023 and 2024, we kept delivering to investors. Everything we promised, we keep delivering. Every single drill hole we put in this property so far has hit gold. These were some of the intercepts in the project. We have about a total of 125,000 meters of drilling. And now we have 1.5 million ounces of gold as a resource on this property with only 125,000 meters. There's other companies that would have 1.5 to 2 million ounces, and they drilled 500, 600, 700,000 meters of total drilling. We would like to drill that too, but we still have a lot of drilling. So that just shows you the growth potential. We're already at 1.5 million ounces. So these are pretty good grades. In red, those are high grade lenses that people would have sampled in the past. And green is what people would not have sampled. So we're adding like 52 meters of 0.8 or 24 meters of 0.5 or 107.5 meters of 0.5. So we're adding that stuff to lower stripping rates to make this an economic open pit. This is kind of what it looks like right now. And so no one's really drilled out to the east. So we have these satellite pits conceptually developing. We're drilling beneath them. 2.5 meters at 10 grams, 1 meter at 33. We are seeing all sorts of gold mineralization, and there's virtually no drilling out there. We know where most of the drilling is in this environment, right around here, and this is where we're getting 50 meters, 61 or 68.68, 107. Last year in 2024, the end of our drill program in the open pit, we had 21.7 meters of 35 grams per ton. So pretty exciting stuff. We think we want, the concept is we want to build 3 to 5 million ounces from 1,000 meters, which is roughly the base of this slide here, to surface, 1 kilometer. In the district, there's companies that are mining 3 kilometers down. LaRonde is down 3 kilometers. Kiana Mine is now mining from 2 kilometers to 1 kilometer. And their grade at Kiana right now is like 11, 12 grams per ton, but their grade from a kilometer to surface was about 4 grams per ton, 4 or 5, 6 grams per ton, similar to Duquesne West. So what we do know in this district, these grades get richer. And if you think about Red Lake and Rob McEwen and his fame, the Red Lake high grade zone, that was deep. So as you go deeper in these districts, if we build 3 to 5 million ounces from 1,000 meters to surface, we could probably 2x it or 3x it at depth, but that's in the future. A lot of these mines in the area started off with under 1 million ounces, and they closed their doors at 5, 10 million ounces, some of them 25 million ounces. This is a district that has literally produced companies over and over again. Anico Eagle makes this the base of their operation. This is their camp. They're the darling of the gold space right now, right? So what we're doing right now, this is this year's drilling. So what we're doing, we have these 2 plunge lines. It's hard to tell here, but we see a plunge line here. You can't tell on this side for some reason, but and a plunge line here, where we have intersections. We could 3x it by thickness or grade, because this is where the most permeability for fluids to travel. We have intersection structural features. And so here's an example where we hit 35 meters of 3.1 grams per ton. And as you can see, surrounding it, we had 13 meters of 4.9. So we had 3 times the thickness where we target areas of higher permeability. Other times, we target that area of higher permeability, and we have 3 times the grade. Here it is. There's 20. 15 meters is 61 grams per ton. Around it, we have this grade. Similar thicknesses or lesser, so we're delivering. We're using structural models to add basically ounces more quickly to deliver to our investors, right? And so this is pretty exciting. What we're envisioning right now, we have a lot of visible gold right now, and we're trying to get this pit to probably an open pit of about 2 grams per ton. Right now, at a 0.4 cutoff, it's about 1.5 grams per ton. But with these high-grade intercepts and what I just showed you right now, we think we can get the open pit above 2 grams. We want the open pit to be about 3 kilometers long, 800 meters wide, down to 400 meters depth, and below that, we'll do underground mining. So that's how we envision this. Lots of free gold. Everybody likes gold, I guess. So like I said, we started off at 727,000 ounces, and we doubled our resource in 2025. Last year in July, right about this time, went to 1.5 million ounces by what we're doing here, especially developing the open pit concept, which everybody likes because it's lower cost mining. This is sensitivity tables, as I was talking about. You can look at the different cutoff grades, the open pit 1.46. If there was a question earlier, how much is in the open pit currently right now? 800,000 ounces, underground 600,000 ounces or so. So you can look at the percentages of ounces in the open pit currently and underground, but we're growing that. Like I said, we want to grow this to 3 to 5 million ounces from 1 kilometer to surface. That's our forward-looking statement, basically, for what we're doing here. And we're hitting, right? If you look at our press releases, and we're adding these ounces. Quick slide, good recovery. We did some benchtop stuff. It's about 90% recovery across the deposit. No deleterious elements for the mill. People ask questions about that. how is the recovery? You're going to have there's no arsenic or no copper or nothing like that that affects the cyanide leaching process or anything like that. So all good. Here's just a slide showing where we sit and how much we paid basically for ounces for this option agreement. So we're basically at $10 or so per ounce. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, we have an option agreement, yes, with Globex. And we're in the third year of a 5-year term. For the main project, the other project we're 100% owned. So one thing is we have, this is our kind of our peers, right? And, you know, if you look at, like I mentioned here, they had like 500, 600, 700,000 meters drilled, and they had 1.5, 2.3. We have 100,000 meters, just 15 to 20% of the drilling of those other projects. And we're already getting up to 1.5 million ounces. Look at our market cap, pretty low compared to them. And so lots of market cap growth potential here for this company. And we're going to go through another project real quick, and then I'll give you the thesis of why this is a very interesting company to get in right now. Basically, this is our other project. This is that other opportunity that was underground where we had 3.3 kilometers underground development. Agnico Eagle borders us here. They have Wasamac gold deposit there. They're building over 3 million ounces now. They're our neighbors. This property to the south of us has a very similar deposit that we have at Lac Pelletier. And basically that was sold for $25 million cash like 2 years ago. I could probably sell this property for $50 million, I guess. So very exciting. I got it for $0.015 on the dollar spent. About $80 million or $70–80 million have been spent historically to get it to where it is today. We paid $1 million in shares only, right? So that was a really good deal. Rob McEwen liked it, one of my largest shareholders. Yeah, $0.015 on the dollar. Who doesn't like that deal? I mean, how much does a house cost these days in Toronto or some other big city? So we got it for the price of a nice house in some big city. And like I said, it's pretty exciting because we have 3.3 kilometers of underground development. And like I said, if we produce 40,000 ounces a year, because the mining payment is 1,000 tons per day, that's at $5,000 gold. Hopefully that will be in 2028. That will be $200 million of revenue. And we think that probably 30 to 50 for toll milling and probably 40 to 50 for contract mining in the district and some cost overruns. It's $100 million for operating costs and stuff like that and toll milling. Don't have to build a tailings dam and wouldn't have to build a mill. We'd have $100 million profit in year one. So over 10 years, if we brought this up to 400,000 ounces quite quickly, which we think we can, 10-year mine frame, that's $1 billion in profit. This arm waving here, back of the envelope calculations, got it for $1 million in shares. So we like the opportunity here. But we think we could actually grow it because no one's drilled below 300 meters. And like I said, if you recall, in this district, these deposits have greater depth extent than they do horizontal. It's like 3 to 1. So once we're seeing that mineralization across the surface with some good strike length, we know it has depth extent. That's how these deposits generally work in this district. So the thesis that I like to say, it's just an arithmetic problem, right? So for the past 3 years, our market cap has ranged from like 20 million to like 40 million. I guess the average about 30 million, okay? And right now we're sitting at about $65 million market cap, a little bit higher. But if you take our average of 30 million, what has happened in those 3 years? Okay, so we'll just stick with 30 million, all things being equal. So, and gold has went up by 2.5x. We picked this project up when it was $1,800 gold. So 30 million times 2.5x is 70 million. So our market cap should be 70 million. That's where we're sitting here right now. But then what else has happened? We basically doubled our resource. Okay, we went from 727,000 ounces at our flagship to 1.5 million ounces. So 70 million times 2 is $140 million market cap. And then what happened in 2025? Well, we picked up Lac Pelletier. I just told you I could probably sell that for $50 million. I told you the economics looked really exciting. We have a mining permit in place. We're about to become a non-dilutive junior. We could self-fund ourselves and build a larger mining company. That's easily worth $50 million. So we're ranging between $150 to $200 million market cap just for what we kind of have here, and we're at 60 million. So still, even though we had that bump, because we had a big bump because we just demonstrated that we had 15 milliliters of 61.5 grams per ton. There'll be more of that stuff. There's a lot of free gold in the system. But the broader story is that low-grade bulk tonnage too. Don't let that disappoint you. That's exciting when you see 107 meters of 0.5. That's probably more relevant than 15 meters of 61. They're both exciting. I know investors like the high-grade gold, but when you're trying to mine and build a mining company, you want that low-grade bulk tonnage to lower stripping ratios, build the economics, so you're getting paid to move rock instead of moving rock to waste piles and incurring a cost. So we don't want to incur costs. We want everything we do to be profit. So that's why we love those low-grade bulk tonnage stuff, because it says to us as operators, we don't incur costs when we're developing. We just make money. And so we don't have to worry about debt issues and this and that. So that's the arithmetic problem, and that's why I still think it's a good time to get in here and pick up some shares. And if you have any questions, now is the time. So thank you very much. Yes, Winston.
How much of the 125,000 meters did you do?
That's a good question. So we came in there at about 105,000 meters was done at our flagship, and we're probably running close to 130,000 meters right now. So 25,000 meters, that's it. And so we've done a lot of extra, we doubled our resource with 25,000 meters because we're hitting on every hole. And a lot of it, really was illuminated through our use of AI, technology, understanding how to target this and add the ounces more efficiently and quickly. So, yeah, good question. Yes, James?
You understand that you're going to empty the open pit first, then develop the underground mine after that?
Okay, so there's many things you can do. That's one scenario. Another scenario you could start, what we probably would do is phase it out. So you would develop a phase 1 pits. And if you look at some of my press releases, we've been talking about phase 1 drilling, there's a phase 2, and there's an ultimate pit. And so we would probably start off with a smaller open pit, phase 1, get that permitted. And then it's easier to permit phase 2 and then ultimate permit in the permanent processes. And then we would go underground, like you said. We can actually sink a shaft at the same time and drift out and mine underground simultaneously as doing the open pit. It depends on what makes most sense for us. And then we can feed some of the higher grade underground stuff with the low grade bulk tonnage when we're milling with somebody's mill in the district. So yeah, there's like a lot of different scenarios. This is why we would do a PEA. So once we hit the 2 million ounce hurdle, we'll probably initiate a PEA. So, well, we will. So that would be the plan, and that would answer that question. We would do our homework, so we would have a better understanding of how we want to proceed. Yes?
There were already feasibility studies that you inherited, right?
That was what Lac Pelletier, my underground opportunity. For our flagship, no. It's virgin ground. Nothing's been done there except drilling on our flagship. But our virgin ground, we have a portal. We have 3.3 kilometers of underground development, vent raise. Like I said, we just want to dewater it, rehab it, and start mining. Yes?
What's your timeline for the flagship, and how much money do they have, and when will you question on?
Yeah, good question. So right now we have like $4.5 million in the bank. And we probably want more money because we add in ounces. And if we can add ounces for $10 an ounce, that's a good deal. So we'll probably announce more finance, probably October or something like that, September, October. Right now we have a lot of money, we're drilling. We're just finishing this phase, we'll have a lot of money in the bank. Like I said, we submitted some work for our other asset. Once that's approved, we can start moving forward with Lac Peltier as well. What we want to do is we're already looking at 43101 update on that project, and then doing a positive feasibility study and go directly into mining. We're going to stuff that new 43101 in a PFS, and then hopefully we can get that out by maybe, I don't know, December. It depends on the independent and what we're encountering with the engineers and what it looks like. So I can't promise a timeline on that, but that's kind of what we're thinking. Maybe Q1 of 2027, or we'll have that PFS out. Yes, Jane.
What's your timeline
Pitch.
for more drilling results?
Yeah, we're going to have press releases out next week, so we'll have a whole bunch of more. Like I said, 33% of the drilling of this, or the sampling that's going to be added to our database is only out in the market, and we finished basically this week our drilling stops. And so we have all this stuff in the lab that's coming out. So lots of catalysts all the way up till September here. Great question. Yes?
Okay, at what point is the resource going to get bumped up and inferred?
Well, what's interesting is what we're kind of doing is when we did our update our 43-1 on our flagship, you're talking about our flagship, 100% of it is inferred. But if you look closely, because we have a 3D model, about 30 to 40% of the drills are within 30 to 40 meters of each other. So that could almost be classified as indicated. But the independent did not want to classify that as indicated yet, because as I mentioned previously, people were drilling this deposit in the 1940s. And some of those drill holes don't exist, right? Some of them do. So we probably, what we're doing is you have to twin some holes to give the independent confidence that that mineralization is there, and we're proving it as we're drilling right now. So we'll have to twin some holes so we can basically, for low cost, move a big chunk of this into the indicated category. So that's a great question. Thank you for answering it, for asking it. Anybody else? Yes.
What did you see in the Lac Peltier project, picking up besides the fact you got it so cheap? I mean, did you see something about technical Eagles land and potentially across the border on your land? Is there any potential that they might want to buy land at this point?
Yeah, there's always that potential, especially, I asked if I could buy their property. Okay, and they said, no, John, I'm not selling it to you. And I go, why not? It's not a tier 1 yet. You only have 3 million ounces. 5 million ounces is tier 1. You're a major. They said, no, John, we want to use this as a satellite deposit for supplemental feed to our mills, just like I'm doing here. And so they like 3 million ounces in this district. This is their homeland. And so, yeah, I mean, it makes sense that they should or want to be interested in even this little orphan asset, especially if we can grow it like I'm thinking we can. And I know we can. And the value proposition, even if we brought it up to 1 million ounces, add 1 million on to 3 million ounces that they currently have, and they're exploring and identifying more, that's getting you close to 5 million. So, yeah. And now even at Duquesne West, that's between us, First Mining. Check out, I think First Mining has a booth here, right? They're a great story. They have Du Parquet. There's like 5 or 6 million ounces there, well close to our property. Our flagship, and then Stellar Gold has like 12 million ounces. So within that little segment, there's 20 million undeveloped ounces where we are. Let me go back to that slide. Here it is. Okay. So in this segment here, there's 20 million undeveloped ounces that are just sitting there right now between those companies I just mentioned. In the middle of it, you have the Anico Eagles Holloway mining complex. They have a mill, they have a tailings dam. It's already in place. You can expand it. It could be a hub and spoke where all the gold goes to one central locality. Who knows? I mean, you have to have vision, right? And so as gold goes up and up, this is a politically safe mining jurisdiction. We're not in some third world country. I mean, this is Canada. We love mining. I don't care if you're liberal or you're conservative. We all love mining in Canada. So we know this is where a lot of our GDP is in Canada, so we all love it. So, yeah, so that's an interesting play for what you just mentioned for our flagship as well. And I believe the lady had a question. Yes, if I could. What?
One share of the company costs approximately 0.239 cents on a dollar, right?
On the US dollar, yes.
How many shares of my company?
Right there, 194 million shares.
94 million.
194 million.
And what was the starting price when you guys started?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we ranged as low as, I think we went to 6 cents, 12 cents at one point in time. Right now, we're at 34 cents. We just keep escalating. Most of our shareholders have made money. I don't know anybody that has lost money. If they believe in the thesis and they understand what we're doing, they're making money. If they're selling too soon, then, because we had some blips going down and maybe they got scared or they were short sellers, I don't know. But anyways, we've made most of our shareholders money since 2023. Some of them are here right now. Maybe they could talk about it if they want. Have you, right? So, any other, yes?
Yeah, I was wondering, do you know why you were able to pick up the black LTA on the chip?
Well, Maritime Resources, had it, and they were building a deposit, a big open pit in Newfoundland. They loved our flagship, Duquesne West. So the CEO of Maritime Drilling, he built New Gold. New Gold's Rainy River, he was helping build that asset over in Ontario, big open pit gold mine. And then he started his own company called Maritime Resources. He's a big, now he's the general manager of Hemlo Mines, which you'll see a booth here right next to ours, Garrett McDonald. And he liked what he saw. He saw the growth potential. And this was an orphan to him. And I said, well, you're going to get better value if we advance it for you and you take an equity stake in our company. And which they did. And then they got acquired by Newfound Gold. They had to sell some of their shares because they wanted to build their mill. So we got a good deal just because no one was advancing this orphan. Now, keep in mind, there were 4 entities that owned it. El Dorado had the surface rights. They had the undersurface rights, and there were 2 other numbered companies. So it sat idle for 15 years. Nobody wanted to touch it. I said, well, I'll do the hard work and consolidate it under one umbrella. Well, the market was kind of sketchy, and we did it. So now it's under one umbrella, Emperor Metals, because we consolidated all the 4 companies into us. Good question, though.
Now, what's the exercise price of these warrants that are outstanding?
80% of them are at 35 cents.
80% of
All the warrants out of 29 million warrants are at about 35 cents. Canadian, yes. I'm talking Canadian, so I convert that to US. Yes, Ira.
So the question was, the exchange that your stock is selling on, are you going to make any other exchanges?
Potentially, yes.
Which one?
Well, you could consider a US listing of some sort, like the New York Stock Exchange or something like that. It depends. It's a board it's a board meeting discussion in regards to stuff like that. But we could advance to the TSX. But right now, we have an OTC list in the United States and on the Frankfurt Exchange, and currently there's CSE, right? Yeah.
And what time would the board make that kind of decision? What would have to happen to change the exchange?
Yeah, I mean, we were having those discussions, right? And what would be the appropriate time. And, as we're starting to gain the attention that we are right now, as we go through our re-rating, the key was try to get re-rated because there's minimum requirements to get listed on the New York Stock Exchange and stuff like that. You have to be above $1 and stuff like that. So as this story grows, yes, that's part of the growth profile of the company. Yes?
So your cash for about $4 to $5 million.
Yes.
How long do you anticipate that will cover?
yeah, like I said, we'll still have a lot of money in the bank. We'll probably want to do a raise in September or October. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy your trip.